Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Devstream.
Devstream.
I didn't see you there. That didn't make sense. That's all right.
Alright.
So,
Colin
guys,
is running on like what?
I'm
2 hours of
like
sleep?
no hours of sleep right now. Welcome to our Devstream. We're going to be talking about kind of part one of our larger Trials update. Trials is our Endgame / progression update that we've been working way too much on, and I'm probably slowly losing my mind. Just a little bit. I was singing Hakuna Matata before the stream started, so you all missed that, so I'm sorry. Maybe next time
It was
on
really
our Friday
good, though.
fun.
It was really
It
good.
was fantastic. So let's get started. So we're going to show off a little bit of kind of some of the stuff that we revealed on the recent blog post about Trials, which is, we talked a little bit about shards, defense gear, and this new Ascension system. But one thing I kind of wanted to start off with, at least to like go into explaining all the things, is let's start off with kind of showing off our defense gear.
Let's do it.
So what were the ideas behind,
Man.
switching to the defense gear, edition?
So I talked about this a little bit, I think in a dev blog, but it was during the Terraria update. We were working really hard, and it was around that time when I'm mostly playtesting the game, just playing, finding issues, fixing, playing, finding issues, fixing. And I realized that in order to effectively play the Dryad, I had 3 Dryads in my deck, which made really no sense to me. And then it kind of occurred to me that when we release these hero trailers, when players are like attracted to a certain fantasy off a hero, where we're kind of selling that fantasy to someone, in reality, you need 3 heroes to fulfill that one fantasy. So it really didn't make a lot of sense to me. And that was kind of the first eureka moment. And obviously, while playing, gear was really kind of convoluted and kind of messy. You could have iPower 750 or 800 or the best gear you could get in the game, legendary, fully decked out, best armor in the game, and you can die from one hit because all the stats on it were obviously empowering your defenses. And those were like the sorts of things that were really kind of glaring issues, very obvious glaring issues that really didn't jump out until recently, just because we've been in this mindset of towers and everything is all kind of tied to one. So I wanted to simplify it, which is something I'm a big fan of. And the simplest simplification was going to be, you are what you wear. So heroes, when they equip armor is going to make them bulkier, sturdier, deal more damage. Weapons are going to make them hit harder. And I thought, what do we do about towers? And obviously the relics that we had before was 1 relic. You equipped only 1 relic, and it affected kind of everything. And I kind of switched that around. Now the idea is you can put a relic on basically each and every single tower. Mm-hmm. And that's basically, the stats on that relic will affect that specific tower. So you can see Eric here picking up a medallion, and he ploops it down on the oil geyser. And now those stats are affecting the oil geyser only. And then you can move things around. Obviously you want high health stuff for your blockades. You want attack damage stuff for your damage dealing towers. And then based on that, we're able to add more stats, right? We added...
what would those be?
Well, we added defense range. I think you can see that there. And defense speed. Defense speed, for people who have been playing D2 from ages ago, we had it in, we removed it, and now we're adding it back in. And there will be relics. There are new relics. I'm pretty sure we can talk about this. But there will be new relics. They're kind of spheres, or orbs, I think we're calling them, that have a primary stat in defense speed.
We're still in the process of naming them.
Oh, well, they are kind of orb shaped. And
just gonna call them balls.
Ball. All right.
The new relics. You put balls on towers.
Jeez. All right. Success. Eric is
that a problem? I don't understand. But
anyway, so you get those orbs, and those have primary stats in defense attack rate, and we have kind of a cross. I don't know what we're gonna call that one, but that looks really cool, which is for defense crit as primary. Mm-hmm. And basically range primary is now on rings. Rings obviously don't give you ability power anymore. Ability power comes from your weapons and armor. So that's kind of the long-winded way of saying you want to simplify. You are what you wear. 1 hero achieves the full fantasy. Fill your deck with 4 different heroes, not 3 of 1 hero, and then 1 off hero.
So does that necessarily mean that you can't specialize in a certain defenses, though?
No, that's not the case. And while I'm playing the campaign now, because we're at that point now where we were with the Dryad, but now for this update, there's a lot of playtesting and fixing a lot of issues. But you start off kind of having heroes that are one-trick ponies, right? I have a Squire. He only has one relic equipped. It's only on blockade because I'm only using him for blockades because I'm putting all my medallions and stuff on my apprentice. But then, when you hit the end game, that will change. You're going to specialize your hero in certain ways. Everything will potentially be decked out, and you'll have a whole lot of gear to kind of customize. And more importantly, that's when shards start to come in. And shards are kind of your kind of customization, progression, depth. That's all going to come in there.
Yeah.
And one other thing that we're not... Oh, Ascension, yeah, the talents.
Well,
The
we'll
talents.
get to that.
Yes.
They're not talents, though.
They're right. You're right.
I mean, they're ish.
They're issues.
But anyway, so on that note, let's move into shards. So
Oh, look at that.
give us a little intro on what are shards, how did they come about, what was the thinking behind them?
So we had passives in DD2 for a long time. We had passives in DD2 for quite a bit of time. Gear, especially legendary gear, could spawn with 3 different passives on them. And that was interesting. That was cool. Passives were meant to provide you kind of this customization, these cool things that defenses and heroes and things could do. The problem was they were kind of locked to gear. You couldn't really experiment very much, which we didn't like. And the second thing we really didn't like was, you're basically beholden to RNG. You don't only need to get a legendary piece of gear. You need to get a legendary piece of gear that has the right stat combination, that has the right 3 passives on it. And on top of that, those 3 passives can roll within a range. So the RNG, the realm of possibilities, or the odds of you getting a perfect drop was, usually we like those, 1%, 0.1%, 0.2%, but the odds were insanely small.
0.0000.
Yeah, insanely small. So we really didn't like that. So we wanted to give you guys basically the same idea. We simplified again. We divorced the idea of gear and passives. Now there's shards and there's gear. Gear spawns with slots. There's a green slot that designates this is a slot that a defense-oriented shard can go in, and there's a blue slot that basically tells you a hero-oriented shard can go in. And basically all the passives are now converted to shards. It's a long process taking I think 250, almost 300 passives and converting them to shards. That's what's
I don't want to talk about it.
That's what's taking the longest time. Oh my god! But yeah, that's what took it's taking.
Huh?
That's why working through breaks and working through vacations and late nights trying to get this all done. But you see kind of Eric hovering over them, and the idea is you can then take those shards and upgrade them, and that's what Eric's showing you now.
And you can still upgrade the gear, right?
Absolutely, you can still item enhance the gear. That doesn't change. We'll talk about that, how we simplified it in a bit. But you can see from this screen the shards. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to shake that. But but the shards, you can spend gold to kind of empower them, or you can spend DMs if you chose to. Very similar to how item enhancement was before. And as you empower it, it becomes stronger and stronger. Obviously, you want to max these out, and the higher it goes, the more it's going to cost.
And just quick reminder, this is all obviously the stuff we're showing on stream. It's still very much work in progress. It's very much a developer build.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's still broken and being implemented right now. So it's there's a lot of polish past that has to still go in.
And numbers, balance, the economy, things like that. That's all. And you can see here, Eric is kind of showing you what it would look like to equip a relic. He clicked his boots. It has 2 blue slots. He clicked on the blue slot and it told him these are the things that can go there. What would you want to put? And then suddenly this looks familiar now. This looks like a piece of gear that had a passive on it because basically shards are passives. Yep. But the really, really cool thing, and the thing that's most exciting about shards is, sorry, I'm trying to fix my shirt that I randomly just broke. But the really cool part about shards is a lot of things were kind of locked to heroes before. We had the majority of passives hero specific. We kind of took that and kind of tried to make as many shards general. So if you remember the Betsy weapon that the Huntress had, she shoots a target in the air that spawns a bomb. That can be equipped by anyone now. It can be equipped by a Squire, can be equipped by an Apprentice, can be equipped by
So you'd have to jump up to it and whack it with a sword,
or you can,
and then grenades come down.
Yeah, you can put it on a Mystic and do, these are the sort of things. And now we kind of open things up to a lot more customization, a lot more interesting player. We're basically empowering you guys to do the sort of builds that you want, and it would be really cool. And yeah, you can see the Harbinger effect is now tied. I mean, it's no longer tied to a specific mesh, so you can get the visual of the weapon that you want, and then put the effect on it that you want. So we kind of added a indirect weapon modding system based on that. But Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, the gist of it is, it kind of lets you guys do these really cool builds, and it allows us to do some cool community things in the future. You want to talk a little bit about, maybe a hint about what sort of things we might be doing, maybe?
Nope, but one thing that is cool, one thing that is cool that I really enjoy about shards, and maybe I'll get to the community thing afterwards. I just wanted to spite him, but one thing that is cool that I've enjoyed, at least from my playing with shards, has been, you're able to take now. You can take like 2 unique legendary weapon passives and like throw them on the same weapon, and so before you'd just be stuck with whatever the one unique roll you had. Now you can combine them in fun ways.
Yep, you can combine them in fun ways. Another cool thing to keep in mind is that shards, when you first get them, are not powerful at all. You're going to have to invest in them. And the cooler thing, and we'll talk about some cooler things in the future as to why this matters more, but before in DD2, when you had like an iPower 600 piece of gear and an iPower 700, you're going to have to find those passives again. With shards, you can just remove the shard. You can pay either, I believe, DMs or gems to kind of remove it, and then you can put it on that super upgraded thing that you invested your time and money in. You can just move it onto your new piece of gear. So you build that equity of resources that you're just now maintaining and holding on to. And you see the unequip button, you can just remove a shard from your gear. And yeah.
It might make the UI explode right now, though.
Don't click it.
Just don't click it. Just don't. This big red button, that just means break game in this build currently. So we'll avoid. So yeah, that's kind of the shard system. So what was, shards obviously add a little bit more kind of progression, kind of probably I would say like medium term progression. What did we add that's maybe a little bit longer term progression?
So for longer term progression, it's something we've been talking about wanting to do for a while. We added the Ascension system. The Ascension system, basically, when you have a hero that's level 50 in your deck, any experience that hero earns is now sent to your defender advancement level. And it's basically an
Ascension level.
Yeah, your Ascension level. It's sorry, I was looking
developer terms.
I was looking at the DAL over there. I was like, oh, we'll put defender advancement level.
Nope.
But yeah, so your Ascension level, my bad, everybody. But yeah, your Ascension level, and your Ascension level is uncapped. So you can go up to, who knows? You guys will tell us.
I don't even know what the cap is. Like, I actually don't.
You guys will tell us how far you get. And shall we talk about talents and why that's significant?
Sure.
All right. So as you level up, you gain a point, and you can put the points into basically one of 3 trees, and each tree will empower something about your defenses. We have like an offense, a defense tree, and a utility tree. And what we're trying to do, talents we're going to keep experimenting with, but what we're trying to do is maintain that goal of one hero kind of can do a bunch of things, rather than, I'm putting everything into this single tower's single stat. We want you to still be able to do multiple things if you wanted to, or go ham on customization if you so choose. And yeah, obviously you can reset those points, spend them somewhere else, and things like that.
Well, one thing that's nice with Ascension is like you can take kind of a build that you're doing and maybe you want to do, let's say like Squire Cannonballs, and you want to make them powerful. Throw on like a heavy cannonball shard, throw on some extra power, maybe get like a power and speed relic, and just have them be like machine gun blasting, extra procs of heavy cannonballs and craziness. We changed heavy cannonball a little bit.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing to mention. The Uber towers. The Uber skill spheres. Obviously, skill spheres are no longer a thing. But the Uber, all the skill spheres either became talents or shards. For example, the one you mentioned, the heavy cannonball, is now a shard. You equip it on your cannonball, and your cannonball has a chance to fire that extra rolling ball. But there are, and we'll talk about that in a second. But there are some shards that you won't see. Like you're used to seeing, for example, I think the tornado that carries a target and zaps things around it. You won't see that when we launch this. There are some that we couldn't get to, but we'll obviously add those in the future. And the thing that Eric was showing that he can now show, we made also some
slight class changes
for like monk and apprentice, right?
Yep.
So the monk now has a flame aura instead of the lightning aura. It does the same thing the lightning aura did before, except it's flame damage, and obviously the mesh looks different. And now the lightning strikes aura is part of the core kit. So you have this like long range single target nuke aura, and you have this AoE burn everything aura.
But he still has plenty of shards and stuff, even though we took the Uber and kind of included it in the kit.
Absolutely.
There's still like plenty of monk stuff to kind of play around with.
Yeah, the monk has probably one of the largest shard pools to begin with. And he still has the Skyguard Tower. It's unchanged. The Serenity Aura, we removed the heal functionality. And it's now it's the boost aura. So this is your little boost aura. Obviously, you can upgrade its range. The shard that any shard that was Serenity Aura focused is now boost aura focused. So
now it can like slow enemies that die in it blow up.
Enemies that die in it blow up and all that stuff. So
they've become boost aura shards.
Boost aura shards. And the Apprentice, it's a minor change, not as significant as the monk was, but the Apprentice, he no longer has the flame burst tower. He now by default has the flamethrower tower. We figured you have already enough like AoE when it comes to popping down your Earth Shatter, whereas the flamethrower was this really cool like short range burns everything in front of me tower. So we decided to keep that instead, and we removed the flame burst. So everybody gets the Uber when it comes to the monk and.
So we've taken some of the Ubers and included them in the kits for Apprentice and Monk, but then some of the Ubers became shards and got changed in slight ways.
The Squire will have his complete Ubers as shards, but the other heroes will have to add them over time.
So let's. What else could we talk about? I don't know. Might have to talk about it next time. There's quite a bit more to this patch, but I hope you guys enjoyed kind of like a sneak peek of our new shard system, our new Ascension, the new defense gear. One thing I can mention, so for instance, in terms of the gear becoming, so right now, I just wanted to remind about gear at least, that gear is now, weapons and armor becoming hero stat only, and then all your defense stats now live on your relics and kind of get assigned to the tower that they're equipped on. So what that means for people coming into the patch is that if your armor or weapons have defensive stats on them, they'll be re-rolled into hero stats. If you already have hero stats on that weapon or armor, it will stay there. So if you have a sweet 750, 790 decked out hero damage, set of gear with stats, hold on to it because it's going to transfer over and you're still going to keep it. The passives obviously get removed for shards. We're still kind of going over compensation stuff and transition. Honestly, there's kind of some economy balancing stuff that we're still working on. So then we'll update you guys when we get a little closer to knowing the exact details on that. But one thing you can count on is that your gear will stay at its eye level. It'll have the stats it's going to get. Rings are going to get re-rolled into the new, it was defense range, I think.
Rings of range, yeah.
Rings of range. They'll get re-rolled into defense range as a range relic, and your gear will either get re-rolled or stay the same depending on if you have the hero stats.
Another thing you can see here, it's kind of now in the background, but the new inventory, right? The new hero section on the left. Eric was doing it earlier. You can click on the Huntress and you see the stats that affect the Huntress, but you can click on each tower and see the stats that are on that tower. When you equip a relic on a specific tower, it'll update there and you can kind of see, basically figure out what you want to do.
Nobody wants to inspect their stats. That's not a thing players do. Nobody wants to know. You just throw it on there and you just go, yeah, this will work, right? This will take me into higher difficulties. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah. Just YOLO and you throw it. It's orange, right? It counts. Yeah, totally. They're good shards.
And another thing, I guess, another popular question when it comes to shards, you cannot equip, obviously, a defense shard on a piece of armor, and you cannot equip a hero shard on a relic. So let's say you had a blue relic that says X% chance for you to stun enemies when you hit them with your sword or with a melee weapon, right? You can't equip that on a weapon, on a relic, because relic goes on towers and that it's not going to do anything. So there's some restrictions like that.
There's also armor restrictions, right?
Every kind of shard needs to be equipped on a specific piece of gear. So some shards require helmets, some shards require a chest, some require relics. We don't go into the subtypes, we just say relics and things like that. And another thing to note, obviously if you equip a shard on a relic that affects the cannonball tower and you equip it on a different tower, it's not going to do anything. So, just watch out for those things.
Wait, you mean a cannonball tower buff won't work on my blockade?
No, your blockade.
What do you mean?
Your blockade won't start
I want my
firing.
blockade to shoot heavy cannonballs.
No, that just doesn't make any sense. But yeah.
Makes all the sense.
And I guess another thing we can kind of talk about, relics have up to 3 shard slots, and a hero gear have up to 2. And I'm out of things to say. Maybe.
What are the colors? Did we mention that?
Yeah, we did. Green and blue.
Okay, green and blue. I wasn't sure.
There are like legendary versions green, legendary versions blue.
Oh.
Those are kind of just to communicate to you guys that these are like harder to get relics, but that's pretty much it.
Sweet. So just real quick before we kind of like move on into our Q&A, I just wanted to, for people watching, some of the things that we've added to the game just to also make it better. Obviously this patch is going to improve a lot of stuff, but recently we did a couple of fixes for online connection performance, and it improved kind of some of the rubber banding and lag that a lot of players had problems with. Still not 100% fixed, but is definitely a huge improvement over what it used to be. And then previously in December, we added a new enemy, the Siege Roller. Mm-hmm. And then before that, we did our big Terraria crossover. So if you're coming back to the game now, there's probably a lot more stuff in it since the last time you logged in for it.
And a bunch of heroes, right?
And a bunch of new heroes. The Dryad was one of the best heroes I think we've ever made. And then obviously this patch is going to be changing up things in
once again
many ways, so it's gonna be a lot to kind of like catch up on, but honestly it's a lot of good content, and check it out and kind of get ready for transitioning into this patch because there's gonna be plenty for you to do. So let's move into Q&A. My magical little song
jingle,
little I'm an orc. That was me.
No, that was her.
Oh, that was her voice. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Now have voiceover.
Oh, you're right. That's one of the things not coming in the patch. I was just gonna be like, yeah, it's coming in. No, it's not. I want to. That would actually be kind of fun.
You should do all the.
I should do just me.
Just you.
And just do all the voices. I'm a lady orc. I'm coming to smack your walls. I don't know. Anyway,
sassy.
So let's roll right into the questions. Sassy mode activate. So when is the update coming out?
Soon.
Soon
It's a lot.
TM.
It's probably our biggest update that we've ever tried to do, just because.
And we already had one of those with the Terraria crossover.
Yeah, I don't know why we keep doing this, but this one is intense because. Like you just saw, there's 300 passives that we suddenly converted to 300 shards, and it's not like I had to push of a button. We just recreated all of those and like rebalanced them and renumbered them.
You mean there wasn't? I pushed a button today. I hit the do shard button, and it just like happened.
If only.
I guess you didn't have that button installed. We should talk to the engineers here. We can't say exactly when the update's coming out just yet. There's still kind of a bit of iteration and obviously a ton of bug fixing and just like a bunch of polish that needs to go into it. And there's even more that we haven't even talked about yet. That's going to be pretty interessante.
Yeah, like all this stuff we talked about now, think of it as like half the cool things that's in this update. We still have.
I think it's just about half.
There's and we're not talking like, oh, there's like a sprinkling of bug fixes coming with it. No, there's like some significant, really cool things coming.
There are a sprinkling of bug fixes
but
coming.
That's like
out.
the cherry.
Let's not lie. That's the little salt-based sprinkle. So another question is, how should I prepare for the update? So honestly,
get gold.
Get gold.
Get gold.
You can get spheres. We're going to convert them to gold if you want. That's kind of a choice.
Cap your currencies.
Cap all the currencies.
Obviously,
actually, that's not a bad idea.
You can't cap gold, I don't think, but
you can try.
Definitely, you can.
It'll be difficult.
You can definitely cap your DMs.
I bet Pandinator's done it.
He has.
He's like, yeah, I'm a cap, whatever.
So definitely cap your DMs. Get as much gold as you can, because like you saw, gold upgrades, all these things are going to happen. You might want to gather just a bunch of gear, because they're all going to get re-rolled, so you'll have a bunch of like tower gear.
Well, not all of it's going to get re-rolled.
Yeah, but like you can get tower armor.
The pieces that are new things.
They'll get converted. You can get relics, and then those will be converted as well.
Yep. So, moving into the next question.
Level up heroes.
Level up heroes. Next question, just because it was kind of follow-up of, like, the one we were just answering. How much gold are we getting back, and how many shards are we getting? When will you have those details for us? So,
two golds, 3 shards, and a pony.
You can't promise people a pony?
Why not?
What? We don't have the budget to give everyone ponies? If we did, where's my pony? Like, what? Why am I missing out? Those details are becoming probably when we announce I'm working on it actually right now. That's kind of something that myself and the community manager and even some of our QA testers, we've been having like multiple conversations about transitioning into the patch, and we're working with our lead engineer on it, trying to see kind of like what we can do, and then obviously compensating people for having spent a bunch of time in the game before the patch, just in some way to really kind of give you a kickstart into. So it's like, it's not only obviously you'd be able to keep a bunch of your gear, especially if you had hero stats on your like armor and weapons already. All of that stays. Your eye level stays. That'll give you a significant kickstart alone, and then we're gonna give you some stuff on top of it.
This isn't really like a wipe. It's just going in, removing.
It's just moving into the new systems. Really,
we're not really taking away all your gear. We're not resetting your eye power. We're not resetting your.
Not resetting your levels. Like keep all the things and start doing the new progression. And then, so we'll probably have those details a little closer to when we announce the release date, and then we'll kind of probably then know what's the compensation and blah, blah, blah transition's going to be. I am very tired now. So next one, are you going to be changing the balance of any defenses in this update, and will PDTs still be king? So this is my favorite question, because something I did this morning is I went on in, I went beep, boop, boop, beep, right to like, was Toxic Shock, is that the name of it? And I went lower numbers, and I personally lowered the numbers on that.
Right click, lower
numbers. And I just hit the lower number button, and just went, nope.
Yeah, you were really happy.
I was really happy about it.
Doing your evil laugh.
I personally nerfed it. Not into the ground. It was still decent. Because, I mean, they worked on the numbers and stuff. I just put it in. But it was just very satisfying. Very satisfying to go, no mas. No. So PDT got kicked in the face a little bit by yours truly. So if you're sad about it, you know who to blame. It's me. I did it. I will accept all your tears.
1v1
and 1v1 me and For Honor. Like, let's go. Like, I just crushed PDTs. It's actually not that bad. I'm like making it like way worse than it is.
But to answer the first question.
Question.
Yes.
We're changing balance.
A lot of balance things are going to change. Obviously,
like everything.
Attack rate is coming in. Defense range is coming in. A lot of things are going to differ now, specifically. This won't be the final balance pass that we'll do for the game and finally hang our balance hats.
We have balance hats?
Yeah. You don't get those.
Where's my pony and my balance hat?
But we'll probably do that in the coming milestones, but this will obviously be substantially.
Well, obviously, we're doing several balance passes before it comes out, right? So we're going to try and kind of do our best pre-release to make things kind of feel better, and we're touching on everything.
Keep in mind, the more things we touch, 300 shards, talents, leveling, defenses, basically the entire game, the more likely some things will slip in.
Yep.
So you might find something new is now the PDT king that Colin will destroy, apparently.
Now I know how to do that. I have the power now, so I'm going to go in and crush dreams.
But yeah, so you'll see how these things go.
All right, so next question. Will there still be ways of a hero being spec'd more into hero stats /shards versus defense stats /shards? I'm worried there will still be issues with min-max builder and DPS heroes, which means hybrids will continue to be inferior in endgame scenarios.
Hybrids aren't inferior. It's a little. I mean, you'll kind of get it once you start playing. There's like these terms. They kind of don't have a lot of meaning anymore. But for the most part, you can, if you want to, go ham on hero stats and just go all out shards on your hero and have a squire that's all about brawling with things or being a tanky squire. You can do all those things. You can elect to do the opposite and just have a squire that's all focused on his defenses. Or you can elect to do both at the same time if you wanted to. So,
honestly, probably the min-maxing people are gonna, be like, hey, I want to focus on, let's say DPS Squire, right? And they're probably gonna. I mean, you could focus on doing some of the DPS stat upgrades and like the Ascension tree first. But I mean, technically, you could still get other stuff later. Like maybe you just choose to focus on it first, but it doesn't limit you
And
to adding.
What I imagine, and this is like just a small hypothesis based on the when I'm playing and my player habits are emerging, I think people will start thinking more of what weaknesses does their current deck have and how can they fill it. So you want a blockade, you have right now like 6-7 options for blockades.
No, just one.
You will pick one, and you will say, all right, I'm putting my best totem on it and my best stuff on it. You might have 2 blockades for like special cases, and you'll see what we're talking about in the future. And then you'll say, all right, how do I want to deal my damage? I want to deal them by towers. I want to deal them by traps. Oh, I'm having trouble with javelin throwers. I need to buff some traps. So you take some medallions, put them on your hunters or someone that has traps, and you end up with this hero deck that's comprised of specialized heroes that are meant to fulfill certain gaps in your playstyle, and then someone else might have a different set, things like that.
Because it's almost like there's more stuff coming in this patch that you might have to be ready for with your gear setup. I don't know, like just maybe like 1 or 2 things. The sprinkling of things.
The thoughts are very chaotic in my head.
Very chaotic. All right, so let's move on to the next question. I would like to know if any thought has been given to buffing and or reworking the combo-focused towers now that combos are no longer part of the game, e.g. Skyguard / Geyser and Earth Shatter.
Well, you'll be happy to know that...
Why'd you ruin the game, Dan? Why you do this?
You'll be happy to know that a lot of the shards, we didn't get to do this for all of them, but a lot of the shards that like oil or like drench, you'll now see they'll read like oils enemy for X seconds and slows them by Y. But if you hit them by a fire source, they will burn for Z seconds for
math.
8%.
They'll burn for math.
8% of your hero stat. So now these combos are starting to basically scale with shards and with stats. So yes, before we kind of ignored combos for a very long time. To be honest with you, combos are still kind of in a very prototypey state in our engine. It wasn't something we ever took and actually built. But with these shards, again, not all the things, but for most things, you will be able to kind of experiment more with combos and use them in better ways.
I think people are going to discover combos with some of the, like, they might not be specifically the combos we've experienced before, but just the combination of shard effects that they can use together in tandem and, like, create a better defense.
Yes.
Like, they're going to discover new stuff. So, next question. We currently have 3+ passives on each gear. On each gear. Yes. Will shards...
You missed the question, though. It's pretty...
Did I? Oh, what's...
You're tired, Colin.
All right, fine.
What is the future of the upgrade wheel operated by the Gnome Lady? The Gnome Lady, she's pretty old.
She's taking a hike.
She's retiring. She's going to sit in the tavern, drink some beers, relax. Root beers, I guess, is the thing that people drink in DD2.
Yeah.
And the future of the upgrade wheel, like you saw, how we were upgrading shards directly from the inventory, you can upgrade gear directly from your inventory.
I think Eric showed that a little bit. He showed a little bit of the kind of the arrow moving back. And that's the sound it's going to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, it'll upgrade your item power. You won't be putting things. It'll just increase the item power, and all the stats will go up. You don't have to make the choice anymore. I'll be like, here's everything's better now.
It just increases the power of your gear.
Off your gear, and something to note: you no longer need to feed the items into items. Just sell the items, get gold, dump gold, win.
Simpler system. And we have a sell all button, and you can lock items.
Well, we have sell all combination.
Right.
You can lock items and sell.
Yeah, so you can sell all the things you don't want. Yeah, and just hit the do, and then upgrade what you want to keep. And it's super easy.
Shift left click locks.
Well, no, we're changing the keybinds. They're getting a little easier now. That happened today.
X plus Y locks.
Well, if you press up, down, left, right, start, select, BQ, then it locks. You have to do it right.
Sounds exciting.
It's like an alternate Konami code. Yeah, it's no big deal. So moving on to the question that I was asking, which we probably already answered, but will shards like Karma Vortex, Passive Change, where it was removed from all gear and be put only on gloves, that change was initially a setback, but ultimately one piece gave it better order race, would this be a correct line of thought? I don't even know what that asked. I don't even know.
Hang on, let me read it.
What was the question?
We currently have 3+ passives on each gear. Will shards be like karma borders, passive change where it
Passive change where it was removed from all gear and put only on gloves?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Keep going.
Yeah, we have restricted shards
Yes.
only on certain items.
That experience was initially a setback, but ultimately that one piece gave us better aura radius than before.
Would this be a correct line? So
Absolutely.
yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let me answer the question. But absolutely. Like you saw with the shards, before we had like plus 3% cooldown reduction, and you could equip it on 5 pieces of gear. We would no longer do that.
Yeah.
Now we say, this is a shard. It starts off at 2%. It goes up to 15, 18, 20% cooldown reduction. It can only be equipped on helmets. We have mana regeneration, can only be equipped on chests. So we took those things that used to be like spread out and thin, we condensed them into one awesome shard and can only be on one slot. There is no shard in the game that can be equipped on multiple things in stack, as far as I know.
I'll find it.
There's 300 of these, so
I'll find it.
some might have slipped by.
It might be my fault. Like, it might actually be my fault. All right, what's happening with weapons and gear that have unique guaranteed / unique passives? Things like Frosty Power, Purge Evil Weapons, and Storm Set Armor.
Most of these are now shards. Frosty Power is a shard. Purge Evil Weapon
It's a shard.
is a shard. Pretty sure it's a shard. Storm Set, still shards.
They're all shards.
The only things that are still tied to weapons are things that change your right click. So because that's like an ability override, and ability overrides are tied to weapons, and we
Tied to
can't
the
really-
character,
Yeah.
and it has to be.
and Terraria stuff, because we didn't want we didn't feel it would be right to like take Meowmere and shove him on any sword, so we wanted to keep that. Terraria weapons,
Keep it pure.
yeah, Terraria weapons have the shards. They are shards.
Uncorrupted.
Uncorrupted.
See what I did there?
Terraria weapons have the shards in them, but they're locked. They cannot be removed, but they can be upgraded.
Sweet. What about weapon passives that specifically enhance defenses, like the Squire's weapon that adds plus defense power to nearby defenses? Are those still in the game?
Yes, that is still in the game. That is like, we view those as like shards that like. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but like you can have.
Never.
Sorry. You threw a train of thought arrow. But like you can have a shard that you equip on an aura that now heals heroes in it. You can equip things on your hero that will affect nearby shards. You'll never find a shard that says, put this on your helmet and your cannonball fires laser beams. That's not what you'll be able to do, as cool as that sounds. As cool as that sounds.
Next patch?
But what you'll be able to do is equip like a piece, like this is the perfect example. We have that shard in and working. You can get something, I think it goes either on your chest or on your helm, and nearby defenses gain extra defense power. So now as you're moving, you have this buff aura moving all around you.
Sweet. Will maps still drop guaranteed / unique loot?
Yes. Shards are now a big factor. Weapon meshes are now a big factor. The weapons that still have unique shards tied to them are still a factor. You can only earn those tied with weapons, and yeah, all that stuff.
Will the gun witch use relics?
Yes, absolutely. She won't use defender. Oh no, she won't. My bad.
She won't.
I
You
thought
wrong.
You said shards. I'm like allergic to something in this room. I'm getting all.
It's
itchy
me.
and- Maybe.
It's me.
Train of thought. But no, she cannot equip relics. Relics are just for defenses. Obviously, she doesn't bother with defenses, so she won't use them.
Honestly, Gunwitch, I was kind of thinking about this because a bunch of people were asking, like, what happens to Gunwitch in this patch? And I was thinking, like, just with the shard changes, and we've taken a ton of passive and kind of made them more general and equipable by any hero, like, her potential power is so much higher than it was earlier.
Every single
Like-
hero's pool of power is larger.
Get 2 unique weapon shards. Get a bunch of like random shards that were only limited to certain heroes before that like boost ability power and defense, and like attack
and you can
stuff.
Yeah, there's a great degree of customization and specialization. So those heroes will still be viable, but obviously you're not going to use them to build defenses since they
Right.
cannot build defenses. They'll be really viable DPS heroes.
Yep. Will item boosters be usable on shards?
Interesting.
Interesting question.
We've not tried that. We'll have to get back to you.
Spend all your item boosters.
Spend all your item boosters.
Spend all of them. Get rid of them. They will not be a thing
Oh, that's good.
as of this patch.
That's good. That's why we've never tried
They're
it.
getting cleaned up. That's another thing we were going to kind of talk about when we went and did the how to prepare for the patch. But that's one thing I can just say definitively is they are getting removed in the patch. So what you do keep is whatever your current eye level is. So use them, like buy them and use them, and boost up your eye level if you haven't already, just to maybe get higher eye level rolls in the new loot system. Yeah. Right? Yeah, good kind of base stat kickstart.
Also, like if you know something's going to reroll, if you wanted to, you can go empower it and then see what you get. You might get a cool combination that you'd never had before, and now it's decked out and ready to go.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. So use them now. They're going to be gone soon. Just don't like save them. Just spend them. So Ascension questions. Will Ascension be account-wide or per hero? If you have, say, one Ascension point to spend, do you have one per hero to spend, or is it one total per account that you need to select which hero to spend it on?
The level becomes account-wide, and the points you earn can be spent on each hero in the deck. So let's say you gained one Ascension point. Each hero in your deck can spend one Ascension point.
Say there's an XP glitch in the game.
Boop, boop, boop.
Or someone just plays a lot. Is the challenge of the game going to be scaling to your gear and Ascension levels, or will that person be overpowered forever?
If you play a lot, you will be able to basically take on harder challenges easier.
It's almost like there's more things coming in this patch that would better answer that question.
Yes.
Like more systems and perhaps challenges and perhaps content.
But
Mayhaps.
But to kind of take a step back and to look at the Ascension holistically, there are players who are really good at DD2. They can do things with a much smaller set of tools. There are some players that aren't, they can't deal with the chaoticness, can't deal with the hecticness, or they just don't really understand the game as well, so they need better tools. Mm-hmm. You can view Ascension as this extra tool that players can now take and put points into things, guaranteed making them better over time. As you're playing, you're guaranteed to get better and better and stronger and stronger. Those players that are really good at DD2 will take that and be able to go into uncharted territory and take on harder things and figure out how to navigate those. So it does make sense once you find
chaotic things even.
Once you find out what's to come.
Yeah, it'll all make sense. It'll all come together in a nice pile.
Cohesion. Unity.
So that's kind of it for our Q&A section. Do we have any fun questions in the chat for today?
The only one that I think we should answer is for Haddad. How is the apprentice going to deal with flying enemies with the flamethrower taking over the flame burst spot?
Get wrecked, son.
That is the answer, I suppose. Well, we don't want everyone to be good at everything, so you have other tools at your disposal that can potentially deal with air. Use those. Anything else?
Most of it was just the same stuff you guys already answered.
Man, you guys are asking stuff we already answered? What's up with that?
I have a question
the show. Ooh, question for me.
How did it feel going to the engine and doing some cool number things?
Well, besides nerfing Poison Dart Tower, which was the best moment of my life, it was pretty good. It was good to help out. I liked, now I have the power to change shards at whim. So, don't get on my bad side. Or your favorite things will be destroyed.
Or message him things you don't like.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know why you go down the evil path immediately.
Or I can make it better, I guess, and be positive. Nah. We'll just nerf. That's all we want to do, right? We don't like making fun things. We're just going to go bloop.
You're the guy that plays Fallout, goes up to a guy and says, I want your hat. Shoots him in the face and
then
take his hat.
You're right.
And then you walk away.
I am. Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. I'm
all
just
saying. Fine.
1v1 me, bro.
1v1 me. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in for kind of the Trials Part 1 dev stream. Just to recap real quick, I talked about the new shard system, the new Ascension system.
Defense
gear. You know, we talked a little bit how gear's going to transition in a new patch. We talked a little bit about, you know, how items are going to upgrade. Showed a little bit more about the inventory. All these things are still work in progress. We're still kind of moving forward and polishing and iterating on this stuff, adjusting numbers here and there to try to make it better. But, you know, we wanted to give you guys kind of a sneak peek of, you know, here's the new features that are coming in this big update, and it's only some of them. So you guys will have to stay tuned for our next dev stream. I think it's going to be 2 weeks from now. It might be sooner, depending on kind of how things are shaping up development-wise. But stay tuned and pay attention to our blog. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and you know, pay attention to Isom. Will be posting things all the time, kind of new blogs about new things. We might be talking about the additional things in this coming week. We'll see.
We always like to sneak things in our devlogs and in
And secret Twitter postings.
secret Twitter postings.
We usually leak a little something here and there.
So yeah,
Check in on it every
Yes.
once in a while.
and newsletter.
And newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter. If you're interested in testing any of these things, send an email to danny.moore@trendyent.com. He runs the remote playtesting group, and you can get in kind of a little early and help kind of give feedback on how these systems feel and how they're, if what's fun for you, what's not fun, but at least help us make it better pre-release.
Yeah, the RPG group has always been valuable, especially this year with like early tests on heroes. We're definitely going to use them for this. So if you want in on this, email Danny.
Yep, email Danny. Spam him all day.
Sign him up.
I
for
approve it.
things
Thumbs
you
up.
may not want.
Spam Danny. So thanks, guys. We're signing out. Tune in again. We're here every Friday at 3 doing either a fun stream or a dev stream, and I'll talk to you later.